Let's kick it off. I'm Steve, and I'm joined here by Mark Ogden, senior writer for ESPN. We're here in New York, in the Big Apple, not far from Central Park, and it's the final weekend, Argentina, Spain, tomorrow at the MetLife. But yeah, we want to get into lots of you, Mark. Obviously, I know you've been at the last few England games as well, so we'll just start by talking about your feelings on the tournament. I know you've been here for the whole tournament, 6 weeks. So what's your general feeling being out here for the tournament?
I think it's been a great World Cup, to be honest. I think we all came out here thinking there was a lot of issues beforehand, ticket prices, the political situation. You don't want to get too much into, even things like the weather, because I was here at the Club World Cup last year and a couple of games were delayed or certainly affected by the weather. So there's a lot of issues that I wasn't particularly looking forward to the World Cup, actually, because of all that. Because I just thought it's going to be a long slog. But to be fair, the games have been sold out. The football's been great. All the big stars have turned up to play.
Yeah.
England had a bit of a run. Semi-final, and then lost as usual.
Yeah.
So it's been a great World Cup, I think. I think it's been a really good tournament.
Yeah.
Aside from all the nonsense with Gianni Infantino, who you'd think it was the Gianni Infantino World Cup. Yeah. Let's not go there.
No, fair enough. I agree with you. As a fan, a tournament in America. I'm too young to remember the '94 tournament, but I've heard about it. And World Cup in USA doesn't come around very often. I know it's in Canada and Mexico as well. So as a fan, the lead up to the tournament was just all the stuff about, the visas, the ticket prices, and you're almost a bit sick of it before the football started. So I agree with you. But before we get into the football, I do want to just get your thoughts on we'll leave Infantino for now, but just the ticket prices, because I've not got a ticket for the final. We're just, we're content creators. We're quite early in the process. So it's not like we're going to get media access. So the ticket prices for this final, they were still on sale, I think midweek. So category 1, $10,000, category 2, $7,500. When England were winning 1-0, I did have a pair of tickets in the basket. I don't know how I was going to get away with that with the misses, but what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's the market. I mean, I think it's outrageous, to be honest, but I also know the American market, and everything over here is super expensive. Gigs or sporting events. I've been over here in the past and you look at things like the baseball or the NFL and it's just ridiculous. But what you've got to remember about the US is it's a huge country. There's a lot of people live here and there's a lot of wealth. I mean, obviously New York's the great example of that. There's so much money in the US that incredibly people can afford these prices. And not just a small amount of people, a lot of people can afford these prices. So FIFA manipulated that and I do think it's grotesque, to be honest. But the problem is the stadiums have been full. So that is my issue with it, really. As much as I dislike Gianni Infantino and everything about how he's tried to own this World Cup and make it his own, the stadiums have been full. So when the stadiums are full, if they're half empty because it was too expensive. It's interesting you say that about the final. I would love to know, and I've not checked, how much tickets are going for the third place playoff. That's a game that nobody wants to play. Nobody wants to see. So it'd be interesting, A, if it's full, and B, how much it costs.
I can tell you. So we've been half thinking about, do we go out to Miami today for the game? But Cat 1 is about $1,000. Cat 2 about $800. But from what people are saying, we've got a cousin who lives in New York. He's like, oh, that's a decent price for a football game or a sporting event.
It's a pre-season friendly.
Well,
I went to the one in 2018. It was England v Belgium in St. Petersburg. I couldn't even tell you what the score was. I know England lost. I don't know what the score was. But my abiding memory of that is the following morning I had to get a 6 a.m. train to Moscow. And I know I'm playing a bit of a smallish violin here, And being at the World Cup final, I was knackered. And it's I'm at a World Cup final, it's my first World Cup final. And I just wanted to go to bed. This isn't how it should be. And the third place playoff, the players don't want to be in it. And it's just a game that nobody needs to be. And obviously, players are worn out. I mean, Declan Rice played his first pre-season game for Arsenal on July the 20th last year. So that's basically the anniversary of the World Cup final. He's still playing in a glorified testimonial in Miami on a Saturday afternoon. So give the players a break. They just want to go on now.
Fair enough. Last question on just the overall tournament is obviously, the extended amount of teams in the tournament. So, you said there that the games are all sold out. So obviously the prices, you could argue aren't too bad, but the extra games giving FIFA even more revenue, which I think as fans, and I know a lot of media were skeptical pre-tournament, but in terms of how it's actually transpired with these teams, what have you made of that?
I don't have a problem with it, to be honest, because I mean, Cape Verde is the obvious example of this. If you give teams opportunities, then you can have fantastic stories. And it has been a brilliant story. But I don't want to be the guy that says, oh, no, you should be restricted to 16 or 38 or 32 teams because look at Curacao, what a tournament they've had. I mean, teams have the right to qualify for the World Cup. And the issue, obviously, the group stage was about 3 weeks long. And it just basically whittled it down to 32 teams. But I'm of the opinion that you've got to give countries a chance to qualify because
Hmm.
even Scotland, what happened with Scotland for 2 weeks and this
Mm.
amazing party. So
Yeah.
football's meant to be a celebration, it's meant to be fun.
Yep.
It's not always, it is about at the end of the World Cup finding the best team in the world, but it is a party that people want to get involved in. And 64 teams, I'm not sure, but I can see why they would do that because that makes it a lot easier with the groups. It's
Mm.
just the top two go through, but
Yeah.
let's not take it too seriously.
Yeah.
It's a sporting competition. It brings incredible joy to the people that
Yeah.
the Curaçaos, those Uzbekistans.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I agree. Like pre-tournament, I was skeptical, but yeah, having seen how it's transpired, you mentioned it there, the Cape Verde one was the big one, right? Getting a draw against Spain, and then that,
Nobody's been hammered.
yeah,
Nobody's kind of. I mean,
true,
Curaçao got hammered by Germany, but it
yeah,
wasn't. But they still emerged with a point. I think they got a point against
yeah,
Ecuador, was it?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
every team has kind of justified their place here. So no, I'm all for it because, like I
yeah,
say, football's about joy and entertainment and
yeah,
living dreams,
yeah.
and that's what happened in the group stage.
Yeah, totally. And those fans like get to experience the
Yeah,
World
exactly.
Cup,
Yeah.
right? So fair play. Yeah, and I agree. And yeah, well, let's get into the big stories. And like, if we're looking kind of pre-semi-finals, because we'll come into the semi-finals separately, but like, group stages, round of 32, round of 16. Like, yeah, what were the big stories for you? I think you already touched on one, Cape Verde, but outside of that, what would you say?
Well, I mean, obviously, Messi. I mean,
Yeah,
Messi's ridiculous. I mean, he's 39 years old,
yeah,
and nobody thought in 2022 he was going to be back for another one, and he's
yeah,
been back. He's been sensational.
yeah.
Because I must admit, I saw him play a couple against PSG in the Champions League in
Mm,
that 2 year spell he had, and he looked like he was gone.
yeah,
He looked like a player that was just kind of playing out his career. And then he comes to the MLS, and you think, well, what sort of standard is it? And you think, well, how good is it? So I'm thinking, Argentina don't really play tough games, so
yeah,
he's really kind of proved me wrong because he's been brilliant.
yeah,
So that's been a great story. And
yeah,
I think Norway
yeah,
has
yeah.
been great. The fans have been great.
Hmm.
Um, and I was looking up as well I did a piece at the start of the tournament about each of the nations. So I had to go to Canada, US, and Mexico
Oh
to
yeah,
watch the hosts.
yes.
I watched Mexico, Guadalajara, and Canada, and Vancouver. And that for me was interesting. It's the
Mm,
different kind of how each nation treated it differently.
yeah,
Mexico was totally different to the US.
yeah,
It was a proper football country.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas obviously the US
yeah.
it's very much a corporate crowd.
Yes.
But Canada and Vancouver was amazing. It's such a young, vibrant place that was kind of really getting into football for the first time. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, different stories, but obviously
Yeah.
the fairy tale stories as well. In
Yeah.
Scotland,
Yeah. Yeah.
Scotland
Okay.
was fun,
Yeah.
and and then it ended as
Yeah.
usual. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's been a lot of good stories.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then yeah, let's come on to England. So like, just before we talk about any World Cup games for England, what was your expectation of England going into this tournament? What did you expect?
I probably expected quarterfinals, to be honest. I looked at the draw, and on paper it looked like it was going to be England v Brazil in the quarterfinals.
Yes, I thought that as well. Yeah.
And I just thought,
In Miami as well,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
I saw Brazil. This is the worst Brazil team I've ever seen, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's still Brazil. And I
Yeah.
thought Brazil in Miami.
Yeah.
Miami's ridiculously hot as a result
Yeah.
against Norway. I just thought that would be the end, but obviously it was Norway. They got past that. Semi-finals was probably performing above expectations, but if you a goal up with 5 minutes to go, you should really get to the World Cup final. So despite the
Mhm.
fact they've overperformed,
Yeah.
you leave with a tinge of disappointment, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. And then like, yeah, group stages. From my perspective, I didn't think we played that well. Obviously, the win in Mexico was a great, not necessarily performance, because you could argue the performance wasn't great, but occasion-wise, obviously, those who love their football back home in England stayed up for it 2 a.m. Sunday night. Pubs were open until 6 a.m. So it's one of those games we'll remember, for a long time. But yeah, let's talk about that Norway game, because on paper, England would expect to beat Norway. Obviously, tough conditions.
Yeah.
What did you were at the Norway
I was
game?
at the Norway game, yeah. And I think, yes, England I expected to beat Norway, but I'd seen Norway a couple of times prior to that, and they're a good team, Norway.
Yeah, yeah.
I was really impressed because they were a strong team. They had 4 players over 6'5", 2 over 6'6", and a big, powerful team.
Yeah, yeah.
And what impressed me about it was the fact that obviously Haaland's amazing, but they got 2 really strong midfielders in Sander Berg and Patrick Berg, as well as Odegaard. They got a good defence, and I thought everything that England are good at, Norway are good at.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
potentially fitter as well because they've rested all their players against France. So
Yeah.
I did think it'd be a tough game. It turned out to be, but I think the difference was Haaland just didn't appear that
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
And he was shot by the end of it. So that could have gone either way, that game.
Yeah.
I think you take away the fact it's Norway. Norway are a good team.
Yeah.
So England did well to get through that.
Yeah, fair enough. And then I think the other big talking point from that game was the post-match between, not between, but the separate comments between Jude and Tuchel. So yeah, what did you make of that?
Well, I think as Tuchel as a coach, he's right to say. I mean, England didn't play great.
No, yeah, I agree.
I mean, if you're looking from a purely coaching perspective, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
But ultimately got the win.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see why he's got the right to question the performance. But Jude Bellingham was right as well to say, look, we got it done, and you have to get it done. Nobody cares about how you play in the World Cup. You shouldn't do. You just got to win.
Yeah, exactly.
And England won. So my only issue with that is that I think Bellingham's post-match interview on the pitch was fine. It's all emotion. It's all there. But then he kind of doubled down.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Well, you're just creating something that's not there. He needs to be a bit more grown up at times, Bellingham.
Yeah.
I think that if he's smarter, a bit wiser, more experienced, he'd just think, right, I won't go back there again. Because by going back there, it just adds to the perception that there's an issue between him and Tuchel. There may well be. I mean, obviously, we know that Tuchel dropped in last year and said a few things, but you don't have to bring that out in the open at a World Cup. If you've got an issue with each other, save it until after the tournament. So I think Bellingham needs to kind of look at himself as well there.
Yeah.
Both were kind of at fault a little bit, but, you know. Yeah. You're not going to drop him. He's a great player, but I think sometimes he needs to kind of wind his neck in a bit.
Yeah. He has done a lot of interviews this tournament. I think he's interviewed pretty much every game through the group stages, wasn't it?
But he never speaks to the the written media.
Right. Okay.
So he's one of these players that only speaks to TV.
Oh, interesting.
You can have your own views on that.
That's interesting.
The thing is that, listen, I know a lot of players have issues with the media.
Yeah.
But a lot of them don't. A lot of them, you know, Harry Kane's great, John Henderson's great.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Bellingham is that for some reason he's got an issue with the media, but he's never spoken to them enough to have an issue. So I don't know where it comes from.
That's interesting.
And it sometimes builds this kind of siege mentality around him sometimes. I think as his career develops, I think he needs to kind of come out of that. It's probably going to be one of a future England captain, I imagine.
Yeah.
I think the next one will be Declan Rice, but Bellingham is obviously the captain. But if you're the England captain, you almost become like public property, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
So I think if that is the case, if he wants to become an England captain, he has to kind of accept that, you know, you have to kind of do the off-field stuff as well. You know, look at, you know, Wayne Rooney was great when he was a player. So, I don't know. You can't have it all your own way sometimes, Jude. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, cool. Yeah, because that's interesting because as like, you know, fans watching on TV, we see him doing the interviews and he's probably got a lot of credit for doing those interviews, but we don't know that he's just choosing to do those. And he's doing it for a reason, right? Because everyone, you know, the fans know he's doing those medias. We don't know as obvious that he's not doing, you know, the written media, right?
Yeah, the FA have had a battle with this over the years and, you know, he just won't do it. And I mean, a lot of your viewers and listeners are like, well, he doesn't have to do it. And he doesn't have to do it, but we're not all that scary, really, you know? Seriously, I mean, and, you know, I know quite a lot of, you know, bumped at a lot of former players over here. And when they retire, you can have a chat, you could quite matey, and it's you realise that you're just doing the job. And so I don't know why he puts this barrier up sometimes.
No, that's fair enough.
It's a bit silly. You're like, you know, I bumped into Wayne a few months ago in Milan after a Champions League game. Chatting to him half an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously during his career, he had a lot of shit that Jude Bellingham doesn't get.
Yeah.
But
true.
He deals with it, you know. So
he's used to it. No, that's fair. Like, you know, over the last year or so, we've been lucky to meet a few journalists, and like, you know, you've made time for us here in New York. You didn't have to, so I think you're right. Like, you guys are people. You guys are football fans, right? Ultimately.
Yeah.
So no, that's fair play. And then you're right, Argentina. So you were there in Atlanta. First of all, like atmosphere-wise, like we're hearing the RGs like dominated in terms of the number of fans in the stadium. Is that right?
Yeah, it was probably 80% Argentina.
Yeah.
That's been the case wherever they've played. They're a phenomenon, to be honest. I was saying to somebody there, they're like the Man United of international football.
Right,
They're just everywhere.
Yes.
And they've got a real passion, a real kind of antagonism as well. Nobody likes them. So that's the kind of Man United comparison.
Yeah, true.
But the atmosphere was, you know, whenever I go to an England game, there's usually more England fans than anything. And the national anthem is, as kind of dreary as it is, it's always the kind of loudest. You couldn't hear it.
The
Argentina fans, the moment it started, they were singing their songs.
Yeah.
And people might say that's disrespectful, whatever.
Yeah.
England fans can be disrespectful.
Yeah.
It was just like amazing. You just couldn't hear the anthem.
Wow.
And then the Argentina anthem came on. It was loud. So they're just a different level of the Argentina. So they're great to be around, actually.
Yeah.
So I've got no issues. I'm not being like a little Englander here. It's like fans are great. They deserve to win the game. The other stuff about banners and flags about you know what.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered about that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, no, that's fair. And like, again, we've been keeping an eye on final prices. Like we basically booked to come out the final a few weeks ago because we thought World Cup final,
Yeah.
obviously, people will be around like yourself, so we'll come out anyway. But then when England got that close, we're like, oh God, England are going to be in a World Cup final here. How can we be in New York and not be there?
Yeah.
So we've had, the tickets in our basket, and we were saying between us, like, oh, if England get there, the amount of England fans that are going to come over, the tickets will be harder to get. But what we've realised is actually Argentina getting there, like their following is probably bigger than what England would be, right?
There's a big Argentina community in New York, but they're all over the US, to be honest. But obviously Spain getting there was a good thing because Spain are probably the worst supported team in the tournament. It's like you never see Spain fans, and when you do, there's a little kind of corner in the red corner.
Right, yeah.
I think the worst final would have been Colombia-Argentina because that would have been...
Yeah.
Because Colombian fans, again, everywhere I've been, I've seen Colombian shirts.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
South Americans, hey, they've got something about them. And just quickly touching on that Argentina game as well in terms of performance. So, in terms of like the first half, like first 60, 70 minutes, I saw some of your tweets, like you were saying, England can't get dragged into this like street fight, which Argentina are clearly trying. So how did you see that first half, and what did you think of the game plan from Tuchel in the first half and first 60 minutes?
So, as the first half an hour played out, I'm watching it thinking, Argentina, they've turned this into like an ambush. Right?
Yeah.
They were so streetwise and snide at times in a way that I kind of enjoyed. Because it was like a real throwback. And England players didn't want what hit them because they never experienced that.
Yeah.
In the Premier League and Champions League, it's so sterile now. Everything's done by the book. Argentina dragged it down to how they used to play. And you can see the England players looking at the referee who was too lenient, saying, "You're going to help us out here." But rather than kind of look around for help, you just got to deal with it. And then eventually kind of rolled the sleeves up and dealt with it. But they didn't have the streetwise nature of the Argentina players.
Yeah.
And there's a really good quote after the game from Scaloni, who said that the last 20 minutes when they tried to find a goal to get back into the game, he said, my players just abandoned the tactics. They played like they were 7 or 8 years old. And what he meant was they just played to score.
Yeah.
They played without kind of rules or structure, just to get a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And England players, they can't do that because the majority of these England players are basically their freedom of thought is coaxed out of them. Right? So they all know exactly what they have to do for their job. The right back knows exactly what he needs to do. But when they have to chase the game or think themselves, they can't really do it.
Yeah.
And a few of the players are, briefing that they were disappointed in Tuchel's tactics. Well, fair enough. I was disappointed in Tuchel's tactics. I was watching it after 60 minutes thinking, you've got to put Rashford on, you've got to put Ivan on, you've got to stretch them because there's no threat there. But then if the players are saying that they weren't having tactics, well, do something about it on the pitch. Think for yourselves. Your top level, Harry Kane plays for Bayern Munich, you got Bellingham at Real Madrid, Declan Rice, Arsenal, they've all won big trophies. Stop looking to the bench. Deal with it yourselves. So too many players now are coached out of being individuals. I just got pieced to tell you a little story, right? Louis van Gaal's first press conference as Man United manager. It was 2014, and we're in Washington, and he sits down with us, and he talks about how he said, I don't want my players to be intuitive. So that sounds a bit odd. I just thought, so I thought that must be a language barrier. I thought he meant he wants his players to think for themselves. But no, he didn't want his players to think for themselves.
Them to be
he
robots.
wanted them to do exactly what he told them to do. I'm like, first of all, as a Man United player, how can you be told not to think for yourself? The great Fergie teams were always about play off the cuff, Beckham, Rooney, all these players, just do some magic. Van Gaal wanted the opposite. Well, unfortunately, that is the way that most coaches want their teams to play now. They want the structure. They want, I get bored to death by people talking about tactics and structure. Sometimes it's just about like Argentina.
Smelling the game.
Argentina smelled the game, dealt with it. Whereas England players, you can see them looking for the whiteboard. Where's my marker? Where should I be? So I just thought it was a collective failure of players, lack of character, personality, lack of thought. And Tuchel was just, like I say, it was like watching a car crash in slow motion. You knew exactly what was happening. Argentina players were just, that's what they do. They chase games. They go to the 95th minute, again, another Man United trait. I know that I'd be interested if the Argentina chance start at the start of the season, but there are a lot of similarities between Man United and Argentina on and off the pitch. But England, it was just like, you're not playing Mexico now. You're playing Argentina. They've got Lionel Messi, they've got great players, and it was just a collective failure of smelling the danger and dealing with it.
No, that's fair enough. And you've put it on the collective team there, but I think like post match, like I was really shocked. Like on the night and the following morning, the backlash from even the fans and the media on Tuchel, like they were gunning from calls for him to get sacked. So like again, like following your coverage, I think you were pretty fair. I saw you say that Tuchel was brought in to change what Southgate done, and it essentially ended up the same. I think that's a fair statement. Whereas some sections of the media were like going straight out, he should be sacked. And just to say, these are journalists that, like a lot of them are United journalists, where I didn't see them having this energy towards Ruben, which I understand because they've got to protect relationships, etc. But some of them went really hard. So what did you make of that whole immediate backlash?
Yeah, well, obviously, I don't cover England as close as a lot of the England guys do, so that they maybe have more information than I do. But I think I think the situation is that what wound me up a little bit was the FA within an hour of the game were basically briefing. Oh,
Yeah.
he's fine.
Is that in
Why?
response to the backlash though? Did they
No,
have to do that? Or?
No, they're just trying to get it. This is about
Get ahead.
Again, modern football. Everyone's kind of has got to have a PR message before.
Right.
I said, well, why? Have a proper review.
Yeah,
him why this happened, because ultimately they hired him to be the guy that would take England the step beyond Southgate. And it was exactly the same as Southgate. And so why did you allow your team to drop deep? Why didn't you change it? Why did you pick a team without somebody that could open the door of Cole Palmer or Phil Foden? Why didn't you take Bukayo Saka when he wasn't fully fit? Achilles problem. So all these questions need to be answered in a kind of a structural review. And they just basically brushed it under the carpet.
Yeah.
So are the next 2 years going to be a wasted 2 years? And I did a video saying that I think they should ask the question about Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
Because, Pep's available. And listen, I've been to games, big finals where Pep's blown it.
True.
He's overthought it. He's by no means the perfect coach. But in that situation against Argentina, he would have made sure there was players on the pitch that would have had the courage to play forward, to look forward, and just to take the game back to them. And obviously, you can argue this all day long. Pep, Sir Alex Ferguson is the greatest manager, but he's in that conversation.
Yeah.
And if he's available, now people who I know at City said, look, he would actually love the England job because he loves English football. He stayed for 10 years for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Because he loves the culture of English football. So if Pep Guardiola is interested and available, it'd be reckless by the FA not to consider.
Yeah.
And Tuchel, he failed his first big test. He failed, and let's be honest, England's path to the World Cup was a really easy qualifying group, games that you should win. Usually easy, boring qualifiers.
Yeah.
And the first team that he played that are any good, they lost.
Yeah.
So, why should he suddenly be told his job's safe?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah.
I wouldn't go out and sack him. So I think that's
exactly.
knee-jerk. You have to have an overall review and ask him, why did you do this? Why did you do that? So.
No, I think that's fair. Just take some time. I was surprised at how quickly a lot of the media was just saying like, sack him.
But the Amrin thing is interesting because I suppose it's different with club football. I mean, I was quite critical quite early on, to be fair.
Yes.
I'll put my hands up. When they appointed him, I thought this is a brilliant hire.
Okay.
He's a rising coach. I've seen a bit of Sporting Lisbon. I thought it was, but he just sunk without trace. It was too big for him. Yeah. And I think you have to, when you see it, you have to say it.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of his selections were ridiculous. The Harry Maynard thing. Yeah. So eventually United realised what was wrong there, but they left it too long. But the Tuchel, slightly different, but
Yeah, no.
I think you're right. Sometimes you can see it, and when you know it's not working, you have to say it.
Yeah. No, fair. Okay, cool. All right, and just to wrap up then, it is Argentina-Spain in this final. You're going to be there. How are you seeing that game as you head into it?
It's a tough one to call, really, because you've got two contrasting styles. You've got Spain, who are brilliant with the ball. I think Spain are pretty boring to watch, to be honest. It's just pass.
Yeah,
but
solid.
But I know that if Spain had won, they won't make the mistakes that England did. They'll pass Argentina off the pitch. Yeah. And I think one thing that impressed me about Spain in their semi-final against France was that they kind of got stuck in. They were quite Argentina-like in the sense of aggression. And Spain don't often have to be like that because they win games by coasting. But when they had to turn it up a level, they did. And they got stuck in. So it could be quite an aggro game, I think, against Argentina. But so my head is telling me Spain will win this game because of the way they control the game and because they've got your mark could explode somewhere. But my heart, even though I'm English, I'll be regarded as a traitor. My heart is Argentina because I just love the way they play.
Passion,
the passion, the
fight,
the way they play like a schoolboy would play. Just playing for the fun of it. And I think, I think it'd be great if a team won a World Cup by playing off the cuff rather than playing like
methodical.
off a tactical
Yeah,
coaching
yeah.
board. But two great teams.
Yeah.
I don't think you can have any complaints who win it. But I think ultimately, I don't care.
Yeah.
But if Argentina win it, I'd be like, yeah, that's a victory for old school kind of
Yeah.
playground football.
Nice. And just a quick word on Messi. Is he the greatest of all time in your opinion?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Maradona was an amazing player for me, but I mean, you look at Messi's kind of track record, it's just amazing. And it's just, and he's 39 years old and he's dominating the World Cup. So
Yeah.
I kind of hope he scores tomorrow, wins the Golden Boot, because
Yeah.
I think if Mbappe or Kane get a couple in this,
Oh,
game,
of course.
I
Yeah.
just think it's
Yeah.
unfair.
It shouldn't count,
It
really,
shouldn't
should
really
it?
count, because
Yeah.
the intensity of that game is nothing like a World Cup
True.
final. So
Yeah.
let's hope Messi gets a couple, gets 10 goals. And
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. And final thing. What's your prediction for the game in terms of score or extra time penalties? How'd you see it going?
I don't think it'll be 1-0 to Spain. I think there'll be goals in it. I think my head says 2-1 to Spain, but like I said, my heart says 3-2 Argentina.
Okay, cool. And you're looking forward
Chaos.
to,
I like
yeah,
chaos.
I was going to say, you're looking forward to going and, hey, Trump's going to be there and everyone.
I mean, what I'm not looking forward to is having to get there about 5 hours before the game.
Oh,
because
right,
it's the problem with the World Cup games, especially for the final. The security is so intense that you just spend all the time either in a car park or in a freezing cold stadium that could only be aircon. But listen, I'm not complaining. Like I say, it's a privilege to be at a World Cup final. I'm never going to, when you start doing this job, you think, must be a World Cup final.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it's not like going to a game in the Premier League. There's a lot of nonsense around.
Right,
it.
okay,
It's a World
fair
Cup
enough.
final, so I'm happy with that.
Nice, cool. All right, well, Mark, thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us on this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.